Are you ready to move into 2025 and begin to more than just exist? Well, I know I am. I know I'm really tired of some of the energy of 2024. It's been a long journey. The past 16 years, the past our lifetime has been a journey, and life is a journey, and we are playing out a story in our lives. And there's always a story or a chapter of our lives. And sometimes we are ready to close that book and be done with that book and begin writing a new story. So I want to talk a little bit about this new upcoming collaboration that myself and Lisa Richard are doing, bringing our tools, our gifts, and our wisdom together to combine to bring forth the forecast readings for each zodiac sign for 2025. And I'm so excited. I don't even know where to begin. But I want to start with this, and I want to share this part of the journey of what I bring to the table. And so I am the founder and the creator of More Than Existing. I wrote the book. I literally lived the story, wrote the book, and moved on from that book and moved on to other things. But in the meantime, I also created the self-actualization, self-realization, self-healing coaching program, coaching and healing program called More Than Existing. And it has the 4 levels, and the 4th level is to become a certified coach through the Lightworking program. And a part of that journey is really looking at our foundation. And everything needs a strong foundation. Well, each and every zodiac sign does have a strong foundation. It has something that has left it to be able to be held strong in its conviction and its predictions and the journey and to leading and guiding our lives for many, many years. And that is through astrology and the astrological connection that is being made. Now, I am no astrologer. I'm a healer. I'm a channel. I'm a medium, and I'm a life coach and a teacher of the metaphysical world. And a big thing for me and what I'm bringing in is each and every year I do record these forecast readings. And each and every year I always channel through the information for the year. I don't break it down. It's not broken down by the zodiac signs. What I'm bringing to the table for this forecast reading and what I want to be able to incorporate along with the human design and the gene keys is the foundation of More Than Existing, which both Lisa and I incorporate through our work, as Lisa and I both have taken the journey through More Than Existing a few times now, and looking at that sense of the values, the worth. But what I'm bringing in is a part of the teachings, and it's not originally from me, but it is the archetypal energy. And my journey of channeling Freud and Carl Jung brought me to my deep passion for archetypal energy. So I want to talk a little bit about archetypal energy, because the archetypal energy is what also created these oracle cards, which will also be a part of the forecast reading. So, or when I'm looking at what we're looking at and what we're bringing forth is the gates, the transits, the shifts that happen through each and every month during the year. When we begin, what we're looking at and how we begin this is we're looking at the Capricorn. Let's just say, for example, let's just use Capricorn, because Capricorn is where we're beginning. So let's just look at Capricorn, for example. So what I'm looking at is I am bringing in the identity of the planet and how the planet identifies that is connected to the zodiac sign. And then I'm channeling the energy for 2025 that is coming through. I don't know it myself. I tap into the higher consciousness. I tap into the God consciousness, into universal consciousness, wherever that is, and I get the information. It comes through to me. But I'm looking at the archetype energy of the zodiac sign itself, the archetypal energy of the planet, the archetypal energy of the angel that is connected to each and every planet. And also to look at the accomplishments and the challenges that 2024 has brought forth. Now, I'm not going to be sharing a big detailed information. I'm going to be bringing in enough so that you can look at life maybe with a new perspective, fresh eyes, have a little bit of a heads up of how you react, how you respond, how you show up when these energies start entering throughout the year. So also then I will bring in a little bit of that prediction of 2025 and what the 2025 looks like through the archetypal energy of the numerology number 9. I'm also not a numerologist, but I am a channel and a medium and a clairvoyant. And so these energies and all of this reveals itself if we open ourselves up to allow ourselves to see more than one perspective. Often we get very stuck and trapped in our one-dimensional view, our three-dimensional view, just seeing ourselves and our ability to move forward, our ability to go back. And what I mean by that is the ability to get into your own mind, to refer to the past, to look to the past to dictate your future, right? To look to what once was, or already tried that once, I'm not trying it again. I've already been there, I'm not going there again. But you're never going back into the same experience. So this is about looking up. This is about looking beyond. This is about going beyond. And so archetypal energy, and what archetypal energy is and what archetypes are, is a collective consciousness, is one way of looking at it. Another way to look at it is the universal forces and seeing how the universal forces move us. And so that collective consciousness is something that Carl Jung believed was it kind of dictated how we behave, our human psyche, and we all have pieces and parts of ourselves that we all respond the same way. We all behave the same way in certain circumstances. We all show up the same way. Our anger reveals itself the same way. And so we all have a lot of similarities that are part of our innate, part of that piece of ourselves that comes from the collective consciousness of us, the identical parts of us. We all have those pieces of the identical that make us very similar. We are a part of that system. Now we also have our needs, and our needs are that pulsation, right? That pulsation, that pulse system that moves us forward and gets into what motivates us. Now that comes from the ego. That comes from what we believe is our needs and our wants. And so our conditioning, our program influences and affects that part of us as well. Now back to I have like a few little notes because I can easily just slip off into a channel, and I really want to keep this to where I want to talk about this. But that collective consciousness that affects and influences our human behavior and our human psyche. I want to go back there for just a moment. And I want to ask you these questions. Why do you do the things you do? Why do you act the way that you do in certain circumstances? Why do you respond that way? Why do you believe the things you believe? And all of those questions, if we answer them in an automatic way, we all have our whys. We have our reasons why we do. It's like, well, that's just who I am. That's the way I do things. Or it's because I'm a Capricorn, because I'm an Aries. And I'm going to come back. I'm going to loop back to the Capricorn energy. I'm coming back. And so it's because I'm a Capricorn. It's because I'm an Aries. It's because I'm a Sagittarius. I'm like, well, that's only a piece and a part of you. So when we dive deeper and we look beyond, we recognize the conditioning and the programming and the identity. And have you ever heard of birds of the feather flock together, right? That saying, birds of a feather flock together. When we move into the archetypal roles of our stories, let's just say, for example, if you become, if you worked in a position, so let me just use, say, a teacher for a moment. If you moved into the position of being a teacher, now a teacher in whichever environment you're in would be different. But, and I know this from my years of hairstyling, how much you start to become like each other. Our similar behaviors and patterns reveal itself, and we start to be more automatic to those. So as the teacher, you may find yourself having similar beliefs, and you're like, oh, well, we all get along, we all think like. No, we all activate that part of our collective consciousness. It's the archetypal role. I am a teacher. And so as a teacher, this is what a teacher does. This is who a teacher is. This is the way a teacher shows up. And so as a teacher, a part of the archetypal connection may possibly be that connection to creating, you may have been told, conditioned to believe, well, you're always going to need teachers. Teachers will always be needed, and it gives you a stable job. So a part of your authentic identity, which is buried into all of your natal chart, may be that you do seek stability, that you seek security. So you look for roles of where you would play that, where that would show up based on the conditioning of what we've been told. That's going to make, and then we believe that will make us happy. So then we become a lot of similarities. So there's a lot that's alike. And so back to the Capricorn energy. So when we look at a Capricorn energy, we look at the archetype of the ruler. And now if you were to think of the ruler, somebody being a ruler, and bringing in the beginning of the year as the Capricorn energy, and bringing in that ruler energy, and what we're seeing with that ruler energy, and what you're feeling with that ruler energy, you may have had past experiences with a Capricorn, or that time of the year. So that time of the year may be when there has been a lot of really good luck, a lot of good experiences, or vice versa. It may have been when there's a lot of crappy experiences, or you may know, as you know, you may have evidence that a Capricorn, someone you knew as a Capricorn previously hurt you. You may know them as a certain way. So part of the ruler and a part of that, the cardinal energy of the earthy, the cardinal earth sign of Capricorn is to be rooted and grounded in its sense of security, its sense of knowing and safety. They need to know before they react or they respond. They're the leaders. And so the ruler is sometimes the one that's making sure things are safe before we move forward. It's creating a plan. And why do you think in the new year is that we jump into the action of creating a plan that is going to be the follow through for our year? And then we're often disappointed. So Capricorn energy, the ruler, can often be very disappointed because the world is not going to provide all of the perfect environment and climate for that Capricorn energy to be able to have its follow through of those high standards and high expectations that it has placed upon itself and upon others. And now bringing that into an even higher dimension, connecting it into a higher state of being, is to look at it as I channel that through is, okay, we're moving through after the Christmas season. So we're being told, because the calendar says it's a new year, so that there's a shift in numbers. So we're going from an 8 to a 9. We're moving into a whole new energy, and we're making a shift. And so the energy hasn't really changed because Capricorn energy was also in December, and it also plays out a part in January. So the energy itself, the Capricorn archetype, didn't go away. But when a Capricorn is happy, or when a Capricorn is content, when a Capricorn sun sign energy is in its complete sense of happiness, its needs are being fed, it shows up differently. And then it gets serious and it has to get to work. And so January the 1st, society and the creation of conditioning has, hypnotized us to believe that when January the 1st hits, we have to jump into action, and we have to get into that action. We have to show up, and we have to make plans, and we have to, this is now over. Now I have to move on. I have to get there, and I have to do this. And that energy is coming from the archetypal energy. But behind the scenes is a lot of other planets and a lot of other movement, which brings us to the gates. That brings us to the channels. That brings us through the movements from houses. It moves us. Planets are moving around. The solar system is moving. And so there can be interruptions, and it can be things that change the narrative or the plan of that archetypal energy. So then we look at the archetypal energy of the planets. So when the planets reveal itself to me and I see it coming and I see the things that are coming in, it can be a bit of you may see, say, let's just say, for example, you may see Mars coming in. And when you see Mars coming in, and then you may see the Aries in its north node appearing. And when you see all this appearing, well, now we have a different characters coming to play, coming to the house, moving into the party. And the Capricorn energy may not like that. That may not feel comfortable in there. So then we feel some resistance. And if we're feeling opposition, that area of opposition is irritating us because it is the area in our lives where we need to put the focus into, why does that irritate me so much? Why does that bother me so much? And so it gives us the opportunity to see a broader perspective. And when we have the ability to see and feel and sense out what energy is showing up, and our perspectives opens, the more broader and wider the perspective, the more we're going to be consciously aware of our choices. And we're going to be more consciously aware of waking up to really listen to our own soul self, the higher expression of ourself, our own spiritual authority, our inner authority, our higher sense of self, rather than running the back and forth journey from past to future and using our past and our fears to motivate us. And so it helps us to be able to move beyond. And so the foundation of everything that I use through self-actualization is about recognizing the version of you that is showing up in each and every experience. And also the parts of who you are in your natal chart. And like I said, I'm not an astrologer. I wouldn't be able to tell you all the astrology. I know a lot that I've learned over the years, but I do know the psyche, and I know the patterns and the human behavior. And in neurolinguistics programming, the whole key is to really look at how we make a mindset shift. And that is to be able to create a new pathway and not to keep running the same track, the same direction. If we want to see change, we can't keep going on the same road and falling in the same hole. If you've never heard that analogy, speaks of the driving to, not sure, I can't remember, it was a woman or a man telling the story, like telling this analogy of driving to work every day and getting to work and complaining about, well, how was your drive to work? Well, it was great. And no, it was crappy. The roads are horrible. And I don't know why they don't fix that hole in the road. I don't know why they never fix that hole in the road. It's always there and somebody could fix it. And then every day it's like, well, okay, so yeah, today I decided I'm not going to go in that hole. I know where that hole is. So I didn't fall in the hole today. And so the roads are still crappy, but I didn't fall in the hole today. And so there's a little bit of a win, but the roads are still crappy. And then eventually, after swerving the hole, falling in the hole, after getting really tired of the complaining within themselves, they decided one day, I'll take a different route. I'll drive a different direction. I'll get to work by taking another road. And when they get to work, they say, well, how was your drive today? It was great. I seen this, I seen that, and this is what was here, and this is what I noticed. And it was a different perspective and a different view, and they showed up differently. When we are aware of those bumps in the road, when we're aware of the things that the patterns we keep going and traveling, and the tracks we keep telling ourselves over and over, and based on the shadow aspect of the archetypes played out in the planets and the astrological signs that we have, and those gates and those oppositions and those transits and all those things, it's like, I decide to go another way. And so it is the evolution that happens. The evolution of the ego. It is emotional, spiritual maturity. It is the development of recognizing that sometimes the biggest problem in our lives is that we are the problem, and we can't escape us. And if we can't escape us, then we should probably just improve us. And it's not about self-improvement of torturing ourselves. It's not about taking ourselves on that journey of being harder on ourselves. It's about having compassion to recognize, where did I learn that? Where did I pick that up? And so if I were to come back and ask those questions after we take that journey and we look at the possibilities of those zodiac signs and we chuckle and we say, I do that. I act that way. I behave that way. So the more you know about you on a spiritual level, on a metaphysical level, on a logical level, the more you know about your history of yourself, of the conditioning, the programming, the more that you know of the habits, the collective consciousness, the more you're aware of the archetypal energy, you'll always see stories playing out. You'll always see the archetype roles that are being played. And then you also become the hero of that story. And so when we look at it in this perspective is looking at those places where, you know, if a Capricorn were to be in the lead, and if the Capricorn is in the healthiest version of themselves, you would want a Capricorn on your team. And not everyone's energy in their shadow aspect of themselves would work well with the Capricorn. But when you recognize the gift of the Capricorn, you're able to see the power of being able to collaborate, being able to work together, and to develop those parts of yourself that finds the Capricorn to be such a challenging energy. And so you recognize maybe your own rebel, you recognize your wild child kind of energy, and you also begin to move beyond the narratives, the descriptions, the story that leads our lives. And who would we be if we had no story? We'd simply all be more than existing. We'd be curious, we'd be wanting to know, we'd be trying to really truly live our best lives. And because we wouldn't have those holds on us that keep us limited. And so these forecast readings really truly do help you to be able to move beyond the limitations, those old mindsets, those deep ingrained beliefs that we hold so deeply to, and allows us to ask ourselves some deeper questions, or to be able to use the power of statements. And this energy is here. This energy is here today. Oh yeah, so it is. What does it mean? I don't know. You don't know. I don't know. Want to know? Let's go find out, right? So there's this curiosity to get to open up with new questions and new possibilities. So what I'll be using is also the Everyday Goddess Oracle cards, which are also well blended in the angel energy. It is well blended in More Than Existing work. And More Than Existing is about that return to our authenticity, because there is nothing more powerful than existing in our authenticity. And so when we can see the authenticity of the energy that is happening, we see it in its raw form. We create the stories, we create the beliefs, we create all the things we create our emotions, we find that emotion, we connect that emotion. And what if it's not so personal as you think it is? And so the cards, the Everyday Goddess cards, I will be pulling a card to go with each month and each month energy. And this is the Fragments of You, and this is Hollow. And so Hollow is maybe a bit of a hero to her own story. She is the mosaic, right? There's the mosaic look of these pieces. And so the hero may not have all of the pieces in place, but they know they're bringing that joy back. They're bringing something home that means something, that has value. So the shadow of the hero could be looking for validation from the outside world. It could be wanting to be seen as the hero in everyone's story. Whereas the version of the hero that's living in its mystique, living in the highest expression of itself, is knowing the real true purpose and the why to what we do. And it's so that we can heal ourselves, and as we heal and we move more into the light, then we also help heal the world, and we help heal the world that we exist in. The world doesn't have to be big, but how we show up, we're able to make that change. And of course, the affirmation cards are the ones that are going to be calling us up and out. And so sharing those experiences, bringing that experience in, is a little part of everything that we are doing. And it's a part of the upcoming classes and programs that we are also launching and bringing out, that will be self-guided for you to be able to enjoy on your own time, and for you to gain extra wisdom and knowing into what is to come, what we have available, and also how knowing more about you, knowing more about how you show up, knowing more about your human design, your natal chart, knowing more about your astrological connection, knowing more about all dimensions of you, knowing more about your human self, your spirit self, knowing more about your egoic self, knowing more about all those versions of yourself really truly helps you to be able to navigate through what 2025 will mean. So I look forward to sharing this with you. I look forward to sharing more information. And like I said, I just so easily could just like drift off into a channel right now and get lost. But this is what I wanted to share with you today. So I hope to see you take a part in the forecast, in the group online forecast reading. But I also hope to see you really get yourself deeply involved in the deep self-studies of all of these beautiful little opportunities that we're bringing together through the More Than Existing Academy for you to be able to dive deeper into you in your own time, your own space, as you get to receive some of this beautiful wisdom that we are blessed to have been given to us on our healing journey. I send you so much love and thank you for being here.